Wonderful. We're being recorded. I will start by introducing the committee members and staff. I am the committee chair, and my name is Tom Plamondon. And the remaining members are as follows. Daniel Lajeunesse has sent regrets. He is out of the country. He is our vice chair. Steve D'Angeli is with us, along with Linda Deringer and David Mango. And with us this evening from staff, we have Matthew Peverini, and the Secretary Treasurer, of course, is Prashanthi Manoharan. And I'll just click that out there. Okay. This public meeting is being audio and video recorded. It is also being conducted virtually through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal Act and the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions about this collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the town's website and through staff at the town's planning department. Should you wish to receive information of any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through the town staff. Owners and agents will automatically be notified. For each application that will be considered this evening, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the application or applications, and then the applicant or agent will then be given an opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Presentations and deputations are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have an interest in the application to come forward to address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the Secretary Treasurer. Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the appropriate form available again through the Secretary Treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting and that they will not be noted in any manner or at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, no further presentation shall be made. If you require any technical assistance with your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following this meeting on YouTube, you will need to turn this feed off and join the live meeting, as there is about a 2-minute lag on the YouTube feed versus the live feed. Please ensure that all questions and or comments are directed through me as the chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any question or comments should the committee feel that it is appropriate. So with that, let's move to the agenda for this evening. Over here. All right. So I will look to the committee for a recommendation to approve the agenda for this evening.
I move.
So moved by David Mango. Is there a second there? Steve, thank you very much. Seconded by Steve, and all in favor of the agenda. And that carries. Thank you very much. Item 2, declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Looking to the members of the committee, I see lots of heads shaking no. And that's great. Thank you very much. So I'll look to the committee for adoption of the minutes of our meeting of July the 8th, 2021, and that's meeting number 2107. Stephen, yes, go right ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the Committee of Adjustment minutes of July 8, 2021, meeting number 21-07 as previously circulated.
Thank you very much. Seconder? Linda, thank you very much. And all in favor? And that's unanimous, and thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to the presentation of applications for this evening. And the first one that we have for this evening is consent application for 75 Kennedy Street West. And this is Plan 246, Part Lot 37, File C 2021-09. So the purpose of the proposed consent application is to sever a portion of the subject lands municipally known as 75 Kennedy Street West to facilitate a lot addition to the abutting property at 77 Kennedy Street West. The applicant is requesting provisional consent to A, sever a parcel of land, Part C, with an approximate area of 0.21 hectares or 0.52 acres to be conveyed and added to 77 Kennedy Street West, and that would be Part B. Looking at the comments from planning, the proposed severance is a lot addition that will regularize the lot fabric for both the subject lands and the abutting property. Both the reconfigured subject lands and abutting properties will remain in compliance with the requirements of the zoning bylaw. Staff consider the proposed consent appropriate and do not object to its approval, subject to the recommendations provided in Appendix A. The owner of the subject lands, as well as the owner of the abutting lands, should, however, be cognizant that the lands proposed to be severed and conveyed are not permitted to be developed with buildings and structures. Also, that the rear portion of the subject lands includes a sanitary easement as shown on Appendix B and C. Registration of this severance will result in the sanitary easement being located on both 75 and 77 Kennedy Road West. It is recommended that the applicant conduct their own due diligence to ensure that there is no issue to either landowner with respect to the severing and conveying of this existing easement. Additional comments that have been received from Building Division. Preliminary zoning was completed on July the 9th, 2021. Engineering Division, no concerns with the application. Operational Services, no comments on the application. Central York Fire Services, no comments have been received. York Region has no comments on the proposed severance for the lot line adjustment. The region did, however, provide conditions that would be applicable to future development proposals related to source water protection. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, in a letter dated July the 30th, 2021, the LSRCA indicated that the proposal is generally consistent and in conformity with the natural heritage and natural hazard policies of the applicable provincial and regional plans. As such, they recommend that the approval of this application for consent be subject to the following conditions. That the owner adds to the LRCA in accordance with the approved fees schedule under the Conservation Authority Act. and there is an amount that is given. And Electra Utilities, there are no concerns with the application. There are conditions of approval as outlined in Appendix A, and I believe there are 5 conditions associated with this consent. So, is the applicant or agent with us this evening?
Yes, we are here.
Good evening, and I believe it's John Stinson.
Yes.
That I've got on the screen, and I am going to assume that there is a significant other as well.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. So good evening and welcome. And I'll ask if there is a presentation or comments that you wish to make on your application.
No, we'll just let the application proceed.
I'll ask if you have seen the staff report and the conditions associated with this application.
Yes.
And
Yes, we have. Yes.
you're okay with the conditions that have been outlined in the appendix, I assume?
Yes.
All right. So I'll thank you for that. And I do not believe that there is anyone here from the public who wishes to address the committee. So I'll turn it over to the committee members if there are any comments or questions to the applicant. So, okay, I'm not sure, David, if you had anything that you wanted to bring forward, go ahead.
So through the chair, I don't have a, I can say, and I have a question to the applicant, but I had sort of general comments about the report, which maybe they would also be addressed by both the applicant as well as the town, specifically regarding conditions. So let's say the first one, which is something which I would suggest to have as a condition, or maybe because video recorded, maybe may not need of a written condition. But the first one is related to the report and the planning comments. The paragraph at the bottom where staff indicate that the owner should be cognizant that the lands proposed to be severed and conveyed are not permitted to be developed with buildings and structures. I see weak in terms of enforcement if you're talking just about being cognizant. So the question would be to the applicant, is the question I can ask, and I know the answer will be recorded, that the applicant, are they aware and do they agree that the lands proposed to be severed and conveyed are not permitted to be developed with buildings and structures?
Yes, we're absolutely aware of that condition and completely are in agreement with that condition. The land is just an extension of a backyard garden type of implementation, if you will. So there's no intention to build.
Okay, thank you very much. The second one, so in this case, I will not propose any additional condition because the landowner has mentioned it here, unless the other members will have different opinions, but the fact that this is being recorded and we have heard what the applicant, I'm okay with this. The second one will be on page number 4, where in the report it says that the applicant needs to conduct their due diligence to ensure that there's no issue to either the landowner with respect to the severing and conveying of the easement, of the sanitary easement. Basically, the point is that at the moment it's easement within one land. Now, once land is conveyed, is severed and conveyed, it will be in 2 properties, 2 different owners. And from experience, I've had issues whereby, for an example, the other owner, later on they're creating problems that you have to pay me because I'm taking up this easement and so on. So I wanted just to make sure that to know from the applicant if there have been any conversation or any proof you can give us that you have discussed with the neighbor and the neighbor has agreed. Otherwise, what I would would be to put that as a condition or part of the registration or the other plan, the registered plan, to clearly indicate the lands, that easement going to the other owner and that it belongs to the other owner. That's what I would ask. Or the third part is I would ask the staff that if that condition which they have put there, condition number 2, in their own professional opinion, they think that this is severance and the fact that the easement will be in other owners' land is covered with that condition.
I guess the way to speak to that is, yes, the both parties, us and the neighbor, are fully aware of the easement that runs through that back part of the property, and are in agreement. And we also know that that easement has to be registered against the new property as well. We've just had preliminary discussions about legal process to make that happen, and there's been no problem. They just have to instigate that process, and that can happen, and both parties are agreement to that process.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate. I have 2 more. The other one is the basically, I'll say it's not to you, but it will be to the town. Is it okay, the chair? I would ask this to the town, or?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, you can put a question to staff, David.
yeah, okay. So to the staff, I'm looking at the condition you have put in there from Lake Simcoe Regional Conservation Authority. Doesn't specifically mention the fees. Their condition in the comment part is about the payment of fees. And the way you phrased it in the condition number 4, it implies just get clearance from the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority. So my question is, in your professional opinion, do you think the condition is okay? It captures the fees, which you have indicated in your additional comments. That's the comment the Lake Simcoe has, the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority has about the fees. You think that condition captures the fees? That's what I'm asking.
First, I guess we can ask, have the fees been paid, Matthew? Do you know?
Through the chair, I will defer to Prashanthi to see if the fees have been paid, but if they have been paid, then that will simply be satisfied following should this be approved or not, as it will need to be satisfied prior to any final severance of the lands. If you would like, we can include the fee amount there. It should read the remit the outstanding amount for the consent application review to the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority. So if committee would like that to be updated, we can add the additional few words in there to make it more clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm okay with that.
Prashanthi, well, we could add that. Let me just check with you then, just to see if you are aware if the fees were paid to LSRCA.
So through the chair, like the applicant is aware that it is a condition, and typically after after a decision is made, and when I provide the applicants or owners with the notice of decision, the notice of decision will say, you know, like all these conditions need to be satisfied, and the LSRCA does provide a comment letter that says exactly what the amount is. So at that point, they'll be aware of what the amount is, but like Matthew said, if committee feels like the condition should be more clear to include the amount, we'd be happy to do that. But The LSRCA comment letter, which I will be providing to Mr. Stinson, will outline the exact amount.
Okay. Sure,
Okay.
Matthew. Matthew, go ahead.
Through the chair, if I could just backtrack, as Prashanthi mentioned, the applicant is aware of the fee, and the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority will not sign off on the application without the condition being fulfilled. So in my opinion, we don't necessarily need to amend the condition.
Okay, no problem. Lastly, is about the York region in the additional comments. It says the region did, however, provide conditions that would be applicable to any future development proposals related to source water protection. I'm just wondering, the staff decide that there's no need of putting these conditions in this application. The reason I'm asking this is I'm looking at this as being similar to some conditions I've had before, where you say this application or this condition applies to this property, that nothing will happen. We have agreed to something or a minor variance, which is specific to that particular application. Could be space, could be number of rooms, could be number of stories, and so that anything which is similar, another development will not be applicable. It's just like special to that particular development. So I was wondering whether in this case, do you think you'll be okay to have a condition which will be applicable to this specific development for any future development proposals, that they should look at the source water protection, whatever conditions are from your region? We don't have them here. We don't know what they are.
Through the chair, it is staff's opinion that the condition or the comment as written is clear, as there is no development at this time proposed. Should there be development in the future, which is currently not permitted, they will go through that process at that time. But for purposes of this application, it's simply just a lot addition to the neighboring property.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Okay, thank you, David. I'll turn to Linda or Steve. Linda, yes, please go right ahead.
There we go. Okay, hi. I just wanted to mention, I did walk the whole property today and saw that it's very generous site. It's a lot of space, and it seems like it would benefit 77 Kennedy to have that added on, as their property sure does drop right off, right? As far as I could see. I mean, I didn't have a surveyor with me to show me where the line was, but I kind of gathered that was the end. So no, I think it was a lovely property. I hope it stays the way it is, and with these conditions, and it just makes two beautiful properties once again. So no, I was a little concerned about the fact that the property's for sale now. That did come across my plate, and I was a little wondering how this would work if you had decided to go with this, and if whichever way that the committee had decided, how would that go forward with your sale? Or, you know, I was sitting on the fence on that. I wasn't sure how that would work, but if that would make a difference, how that would work. But those were my comments. Wasn't sure about that at all, but other than that, the property and the way it backs onto the neighbor, I think is a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Stephen, anything?
No, I'm satisfied with the comments that were made and the answers that were given. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Stephen. Mr. Stinson, I'm just curious if you wanted to comment on the observation that was made by Linda there. And I'll just raise the other point that, and then I'll let you address both. But I do want to make sure that you're aware that, you know, and it's in condition 2, you do have a 2-year period within which to, carry this out. So I'm assuming that that you're in the process of wanting to get this completed. And
Yes, that's right.
and that's on your agenda following this committee making a favorable decision.
That's correct. Yeah, there's no comment to be made other than a reaction to make. All that is true. Our house is up for sale, and we've always wanted to sever that. It only recently became possible when the neighbor showed some interest in it. So we think it's great for both properties to have it. And yes, our house is up for sale, but we don't expect that to happen right away. And we're certainly able to, I think, stick handle our way through all of the processes that we would need to do, depending on when and how the home would close. I don't foresee that happening. We were hoping that we could get this through. We're not sure of the timing, but we want to make sure that it happens and it happens cleanly. So that'll be just one of the things that we'll stick handle through in selling our property.
Perfect. And I just want to correct something that I just said. It's not 2 years, it's 1 year. Just make sure I covered that off. Okay. So without, and David, I wasn't sure if your hand was up there or not.
Yeah, so, thank you, Linda. If you see my line of asking was the issue of a sale. We have had cases in the past whereby you have approved severances, and then the new owner later on comes in with an application of similar issues to be handled. You said, I didn't know, I was not aware that, there's an easement or this was resolved. Or I was not aware that I'm not supposed to develop anything. So I didn't want to ask directly like that. I was asking in a different way. So I'm happy Linda brought it up. And then the chair, you have also mentioned about this. But basically, that was my worry. And this is from experience. We've had these issues before that the other owner said I was not aware of, or I was not supposed to, I didn't know I was going to do this, or I didn't know I was supposed to pay fees, things like those. So I'm happy that this has been, mentioned. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stinson, I did see your hand up there.
Yeah, I just respond to that by saying I can understand that being a concern, but not in our situation, because in our situation, the person who the property is being severed to, the other property, has just moved in there, and she's totally aware of everything, and it would be her taking on the new criteria and the regulations for that piece of property. So she understands it right now completely, and will even know more after this meeting and by the time this is all done. So it's sort of a reverse situation. It's not, and then the property that's left is ours, has always had these things with it, and it's always had easements and restrictions because of Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority. And so the new owner knows those things as well. And if they don't know, they should have been made aware of them anyway if they're good real estate people. But anyway, that's my response, is that it is important. It is important, but in this case, the person getting it knows all about it.
Perfect. Thank you for those comments. I appreciate that, and making sure that everybody is aware of the process and what has to happen and when. I'll look to the committee for a motion on the consent application. Stephen, yes, please go right ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve consent application 2021-09, subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix A of the staff report.
Thank you very much. I'll look to the committee for a seconder. Linda, thank you very much. So all in favor? And that passes unanimously. So wonderful. And Mr. Stinson, I'll bid you a good evening and enjoy the rest of it. Prashanthi will be following up with you as well with our notice of decision on this application. So have a good evening.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right. So moving on, The next item coming forward is minor variance for Mr. Robert Chin of 76 Glen Steeple Trail. This is minor variance 2021-22. Just pull this up. The applicant is requesting relief from the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the widening of an existing driveway for a single detached dwelling. The following relief from the requirements of the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended is requested. Section 5.6.1a III allows a maximum driveway width of 10 meters if the lot frontage is 18 meters or greater, with the exception that the maximum driveway width at the street line shall not exceed 6 meters. The applicant is proposing a driveway width of 10.1 meters. You're going to be hearing that again in a few minutes, I believe. Planning comments. With regards to the intent of the official plans, planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. With regards to the provisions of the zoning bylaw, planning staff are also of the opinion that the proposed variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. With regards to it being desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, there are approximately 28 existing residences in the form of single detached homes along a Glen Steeple Trail. 24 of these dwellings have 2-car garages, while 4 dwellings have 3-car garages. Although the driveway for the subject property would be wider than the average driveway on the street, staff acknowledge that this property has an irregular lot shape and a significantly wider lot frontage than any other property on Glen Steeple Trail. Staff also note that even after the proposed driveway widening, that the driveway will not extend beyond the garage wall to the east. So based on the above in the staff report, staff are of the opinion that the permitting the subject variance is desirable and appropriate development and use of the land. With regards to it being considered minor in nature, staff consider the amount of paving to be added to accommodate the widening to be small in scale. And when taking this into consideration and how large the property is, staff are of the opinion that the variance requested is minor in nature. Other comments received, engineering services have no objection to the above noted variance application. However, as the subdivision in which the subject houses are located is not yet assumed by the town, the approval of each variance application is subject to the following condition: that the owner get permission to make necessary arrangements with the developer for the proposed driveway widening and curb cuts / replacement as required. Those would have to obviously meet the standards for the additional loading that cars and vehicles would provide over top, I guess, of the widened section. Building division preliminary zoning review has been conducted. No comments provided specifically on the application. Accessibility advisor, no comments provided, as well from traffic analyst, no comments. Operational Services Parks Division have reviewed the documentation for the property associated with the above application and have no formal comments. There is a municipal street tree located 5 meters from the new driveway width and will not be impacted by the proposed expansion. So the contractor should be made aware of its location and work in such a manner as to not cause damage to the tree. Central York Fire Services, no comments provided. Legal Services has no comments. Regional Municipality of York has completed its review, has no comments. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, the subject property is located outside of an area that is regulated under Ontario Regulation 17906. Electric Utilities have no objection to its approval, subject to their usual conditions. Hydro One are in receipt of the application for the minor variance and have reviewed the documents concerning the above noted plan and have no comments or concerns at this time. There are conditions of approval. There are 3 of them. And I believe that covers the staff report. So I will turn to the owner applicant for any comments or presentation that they wish to make. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, hi there. Hello, committee members. No, I didn't actually do a presentation. I assume everybody did site visits and they saw that it's an extensive property. It's very, very wide. I think the lot frontage is 180 meters wide. It goes, and the extension I'm looking for is toward the Yonge Street side, so it's not toward the neighboring properties whatsoever. I have the support of, I think we have 5 supporting letters. Directly to my next door neighbor is number 66 right beside me. He absolutely supports it. He sent an email. The next one over, 62, he sent an email of support as well. It just makes sense. And so is number 54. I think that's about the 4th property down. And also the property directly in front of me, number 71, has also sent a letter of support as well. So all the neighbors supported. I've got no negative feedback whatsoever. In fact, I've had quite the opposite. They said my property looks like a joke. Like, why was this built this way? I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the photographs and everything. So they're like, they think it'll actually be a benefit to everyone, including the overall appearance of the subdivision. So yeah, I don't really have any other comments other than that. The property is very wide. It goes all the way Yonge Street. I take care of that property. I cut the grass there, and I'm all about maintaining the appearance, and there's lots of soft landscaping there, and I plan to do further landscaping, and yeah, I don't know what else I could say.
I thank you very much, Rob. And I will just before I turn to the public, acknowledge that there were actually 5 support emails, and that was compiled by Prashanthi for us for both yours and I believe another one that we will be considering. Yeah. So I do not believe that there is anyone here from the public who wishes to address the committee, and have confirmed that with staff. So I'll look to the members of the committee if there are any comments or questions of the applicant. And before they do, I'll just general comment. We've seen a number of these in other subdivisions come before this committee. It's a general provision in the bylaw, and it doesn't necessarily take into account these types of situations. So it's not a surprise that we see them from time to time. So I will pass it on to other members of the committee. And David, I see your hand up, so please go right ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's just a minor question. Just so out of curiosity, why not 10.0, the maximum driveway width, and have 10.1 meters?
Good question. Good question. Myself and the other neighbor, who is actually, he's actually a professor and a professional engineer. I mean, I do a lot of technical stuff, but my neighbor at number 99, whose applications may follow me, he's a PEng, and he had his drawing and his details out, and unfortunately he can't be with us tonight because he's on a plane. I got a family emergency, but we measured out. I said, look, like 10 meters should be fine. He says, you know what, because of this and that, it'll look a little bit better if you have that 0.1, a little bit of extra room, even though it's only 0.1 of a meter. So that's the only reason. I mean, I could probably go with 10, but from an aesthetic standpoint and from an engineering standpoint, my engineering neighbor suggested 10.1. That's it.
Okay, could be something to do with the grading. I have a question with him, but I cannot ask him here since he's on the other application, so I cannot do that. But anyway, I thought of just asking and understand why 10, which is something like a maximum driveway width, so you could match that, which matches at the back, and not at the street line, and then your 0.1. So I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? Linda, Stephen, any comments or questions on this one?
I'm good.
You're good? You?
Yeah.
Stephen, you're good?
I'm good. Yes.
All right. So I have no comments or questions. I just figured the 0.1 was in order to flare the curb if you needed to. But anyway, I'll look to the committee then for a motion on this application. David, go right ahead. Thank you.
Through the chair, I move that the minor variance application MV-2021-22 be approved as subject to the conditions in the staff's report. I think there are 3 conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I'll look to the committee for a seconder. Seeing Linda's hand, thank you very much. All in favor of the motion, and that carries. So Rob, you're all set. I guess you're going to be talking to the developer about carrying this work on.
Already done. I have a letter of approval. I should have mentioned that actually. I've got a letter of approval from them, and I'm surprised that it wasn't in Prashanti. He is in possession of it actually. So they do have a letter of support from the developer. So it's and I've been coordinated with the site manager, and I said I'd rather have you guys do it than me because and I'll pay you to do it or whatever because then it's going to be done because I know it's not assumed yet, and if I do it wrong, it's going to be on them to fix it in the long run. So we do have a relationship and an agreement how this is going to take place. So thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Enjoy your evening and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, committee members. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Pleasure. All right. So moving on to the next application. I said you were going to hear me say this all over again, and I will. So the next minor variance application is at 99 Glen Steeple Trail. This is minor variance 2021-23. And pardon if you are listening to my dog in the background barking. There must be someone guarding my house. So apologies for that. The applicant is requesting relief from the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the widening of an existing driveway for a single detached dwelling. The following relief from the requirements of the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended is requested. Section 5.6.1A III allows a maximum driveway width of 10.0 meters if the lot frontage is 18 meters or greater, with the exception that the maximum driveway width at the street line shall not exceed 6 meters. The applicant is proposing a driveway width of 10.1 meters. Planning comments with regards to the official plan. Planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed variance meets the general intent of the official plan. With regards to the zoning bylaw, planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. And with regards to the desirability for the appropriate development and use of the land, staff acknowledge that this property is a corner lot, which has a much wider lot frontage and lot area when compared to the average lot on Glen Steeple Trail. Staff also note that even after the proposed driveway widening, that the driveway will not extend beyond the garage wall. So based on the above, staff are of the opinion that permitting the subject variance is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. Again, this is a variance, and is it considered minor in nature? The 3-car garage with wider driveway already exists on the property. Staff are of the opinion that the variance requested is minor in nature. Again, comments, additional comments, engineering services have no objection to the variance application. However, as the subdivision in which the subject house is located is not yet assumed by the town, the approval of such variance application is subject to the following condition: that the owner get permission and make necessary arrangements with the developer for the proposed driveway widening and curb cuts replaced as required. Building division, no comments. Accessibility advisor, no comments provided. Traffic analyst, no comments provided. Operational services parks division have reviewed the documentation for the property associated. And again, point out that the municipal street tree is located 5 meters from the new driveway width and will not be impacted by the proposed expansion, but the contractor should be made aware of its location and work in such a manner as to not damage the tree. Central York Fire Services, no comments provided. Legal Services has no comments. The Regional Municipality of York completed its review and has no comments. LSRCA is indicating that it is not within a regulated area. And electric utilities, usual, pardon me, comments have been received. And Hydro One reviewed the documents concerning the plan and have no comments. I'll turn to the applicant. Good evening, Richard, and welcome to the meeting. And I'll ask if you have a presentation or comments.
Hello.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the council. As you all know, my father cannot join us here today since he is on a trip to Shanghai, China, as we speak. What I'm here today for is the driveway widening of our property. Our property is located right next to Yonge Street, and therefore the direction in which we want to extend our driveway has no neighboring properties to impact. I've gone over all the minor variance agenda packages and the conditions, and I believe that everything is in order to proceed. I feel Rob before me, Rob Chen, kind of said everything that I was gonna say as well. Our lot would look a lot better if we had the extra 4.1 meters.
Yeah, I think we're kind of covering the same ground back to back here. Hi, Richard. So no problem there at all. And we recognize the differences between your property and that of the previous applicant. I will look to members of the committee for any comments or questions of the applicant. And David, yes, I see your hand up there, so please go right ahead.
Anyways, I'll comment because it's there. It's actually the letter which was stamped by Richard, your dad. I know maybe the purpose was to show that he, as a professional engineer, he prepared that engineering document with the engineering content and also showing his assuming responsibility for the specific intent of the document, and that provides the public with accountability and reliance. But that stamping actually fails to achieve their purpose because it's stamped, it's signed, but it's not dated. For a stamp, professional engineer stamp, it has to be stamped, signed, and dated, but he forgot to date. So I just wanted to mention that in future, if there are other documents, he shouldn't forget to date whatever he stamps. So that's my only general comment.
Okay.
It fails to achieve that purpose of stamping with a professional engineer.
I'll be sure to tell him. I'll be sure to tell him when I get in touch with him. Thank you very much.
But it doesn't change, the overall information which is there. But I just thought of just mentioning that.
Thank you.
It's a document, and I happen to also be a professional engineer, so I know what really happens. When you are stamping and you put a date, you don't sign, then it's not the same way. It has to be complete, stamped, signed, and dated.
Okay.
That's good to know. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind for my future as well. Thank you so much.
All right, David. Thank you for drawing our attention to it. Yes, Stephen, go right ahead.
Thanks. Just a quick question, and building on what the conversation we had with Rob, because the town hasn't assumed this property, just a question in terms of have you made arrangements to do the curb cut and the widening, and or is this something that you will be doing? And what is your intent? Who do you intend to have the curb cut done?
I believe that my father has already spoken with the developer of our property, and we have not yet gotten any confirmation back from them yet, but we will be working closely with them in order to accomplish the driveway widening. It will not be done on our own. I can guarantee you that, since we have no
experience.
Yeah.
Perfect. Nope, that's good. Through you, Mr. Chair. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Just to staff, Matthew, I know we've gone down this path in the past, and we've had this type of work done. Does the developer then have to come to the town? I know the answer to this question, but for the benefit of everyone else, does the developer have to come back to the town and provide a drawing to the municipal standards that shows how this is going to be done?
Through the chair, just give me 1 second. No, it is not assumed.
No, I know, Matthew, it's not assumed. The comment is, the town has drawings showing the street design, the infrastructure, where the curb cuts are going to be provided. Will the developer then, in both of these cases, have to come back to the town, to engineering, and provide updated drawings showing the modifications that are being made prior to the assumption of the street?
Through the chair, the engineering will do their inspections at the time of assumption, is my understanding.
Right. Okay. And that's typical. To my comment, Richard, to Rob before you is, if someone is going to do something in an area that will eventually become the town's, it's got to be done in accordance with certain standards. You don't just come along with a saw, a concrete cutting saw, and just chop it up. The curb isn't built the same way where a driveway goes as it would otherwise be for just a curb up against a planted area or grass. So yeah, it's you just don't go cutting up the curbs, and that would be something that the town would have to be made aware of at some point. If it's the developer who's doing it for you, then it's kind of an automatic. So I'll look, with that, I'll look to the members of the committee for a motion on this application. Linda, please go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to try through the chair. I move that we approve, just a sec, that we approve the minor variance application MV 202123 with the recommendations and conditions of approval.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll look to the members of the committee to second that motion. David, so noted. And I'll call the question. All of those in favor of the motion? And that carries. Thank you very much. So Richard, you will be able to let your dad know once he lands in his destination that his minor variance was approved by this committee, and I'll wish you a pleasant evening.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
You too. Bye now.
All right. That concludes the applications that we've got for our meeting for this evening. Is there any new business coming forward from any member of the committee? None. All right. Anything from staff that we should be made aware of? We did have a quick chat with Samantha beforehand. And anything, Prashanthi, from staff, or Matthew from your side?
Through the chair, no new business on my end. Thanks.
Terrific. All right, I will look to the committee for a motion to adjourn. Stephen. And all in favor? And we are